All right, we'll give everybody just a minute or two to join us, and then we'll get started. We won't be on super long tonight. I'm very tired. I'm ready to go to bed. So, all right. So let's hope we got some folks joining now. So let's go ahead and get started here. So, quick weather update for you here. Time right now almost 10 o'clock, and I just wanted to do a quick weather update because we got some storms out there. I do expect the trends would be for these storms to weaken over the next several hours. They try to move in from the west. We kind of talked about this yesterday, and we thought that might would happen. There's also some storms north of us tonight. A couple tornado, actually a tornado warning northwest of us up there, north of Interstate 40, and that's not going to impact us here. But I think the bigger story will be thunderstorm chances tomorrow night, tomorrow evening especially. I think they go up pretty high here, and going to be some heavy rain around and some gusty winds with that. But let's kind of talk about the storms and what they're doing now. Let me full screen this here for you so you can see it a little bit better. So if we kind of take a look here, you've got this cluster of storms, which we are kind of thinking might impact our weather here tonight, maybe out to the west. Now, remember, sometimes these things kind of have a mind of their own, and the our weather models have not done a super good job at forecasting this activity here today. But there are some pretty strong thunderstorms here back in the Panhandle and trying to enter into Knox County. These actually kind of have some little supercell structures to them with some hail producing back there towards Jayton and kind of northwest of Knox City. I think I see some outflow starting to develop on that. So you're probably going to have some pretty strong winds. I imagine you're going to wind up having a pretty good wind signature develop with this storm here. And of course, as that moves eastward, weather information weakens that stuff overnight. But I don't know. I mean, there's still some energy over this way. And if we do get these, these organized thunderstorms to move through, they could produce some heavy downpours and some gusty winds overnight. So we'll watch and see as they kind of move over into this area here. That'd be well after midnight or after midnight before they get to Wichita Falls if they were to impact us here at all. Further off to the north, we also got some storms up here. Now, these storms, they've really struggled up here a lot tonight. They've tried to develop, and then they'll go up, and then they'll diminish a bit, and then they just kind of have struggled quite a bit here. But we still have these storms, a couple warnings, severe and even tornado warnings up that way. We can kind of take a look at that. That's well north west of Oklahoma City. But let me try to see if I can switch radar sources here so we can see maybe a little bit closer. Let me see if I have let's say Enid here. Is that Enid? Is that going to work? Yeah, there's Enid. So if you look on out of the Enid radar, that's actually a little supercell there. You can see the hook on it there near Canton and kind of north of Hitchcock there, a little bit of a supercell. These storms up here are along a little warm frontal boundary, and there's a little spin up here, and that's why there's some tornado warnings along those storms there. Nothing confirmed, and in fact, we can take a look at the radar, the velocities from these storms here. So give me a second, and we will take a look. Let me do something here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to kind of go through this stuff here. Be a little rotation with those storms up there, I suppose. I wouldn't be surprised if the rotation increases. Again, there's a warm front up there. Those storms are kind of anchored along, and when that happens, they just sometimes have a tendency to have a better chance to kind of spin a little bit. So that's kind of what you're seeing up there with these storms. So you do see a little rotation with that storm near Canton, Oklahoma. That's way up there in the northern part of Oklahoma there, well north of Oklahoma City. A little rotation. Wouldn't be surprised to see some tornado warnings come out for that one. And then the one over here, there's some rotation with it. You can really see that, north of Cheyenne and kind of north of the Roll area. That's where you got a little bit of a circulation in that area. Nothing confirmed though, but they're not moving very fast. Upper atmospheric winds just aren't very strong here tonight. They're well north of interstate. Again, they're not going to impact us here. But those storms up there are going to be the most intense for sure. And then down our way, again, we'll watch and see what happens with this cluster of storms that's coming out of the Panhandle here. Most of our weather information weakens that. But, I could still see a situation where there's some gusty winds, and that does continue for a little while longer. You're seeing an outflow boundary now develop from those storms. So if that rushes out ahead of them, it may wind up cooling the atmosphere off, and we wouldn't get any thunderstorms at all here. So that is a possibility. You can see them moving kind of east, and they're kind of developing over into Knox County. So I would think at least overnight tonight we have a chance for some thunderstorms rumbling across the area. I don't know how strong they'll be, but the main concern would be a little bit of some gusty winds with those. If we do get them, the overall severe threat doesn't look particularly high with those, but they could see some gusty winds with those moving into our western counties here. And if they can survive overnight again, you may see a little hail and some gusty winds. Those are your main concerns with those particular storms here. Now, if we kind of expand this out a bit, let's look at the weather information for tomorrow. So here's the storms. I know it's hard to see it small. I'll make this a little bigger in just a second. I'm just setting some pause points here so I can go through it. Now you see a lot of red on there. A lot of heavy rain tomorrow night. All right, now let's play it. All right, so now, so once again, here are the thunderstorms. It shows it an hour from now. It shows those storms moving into our western counties, but look at how quickly it tries to weaken those. It does move them eastward. There you are about 11:30, 12 o'clock. Some of these storms developing over into Baylor County, Wilburger County, and it does show some storms, after midnight into Wichita Falls, maybe up towards the north into parts of Oklahoma. And then you can see other storms there in Oklahoma City, but you can see those things do begin to fade out pretty quick after midnight. That's what the computer model shows. I still think these storms could perhaps be around overnight tonight a bit more so than what the computer models show. Now, in the morning, it looks like as the frontal boundary itself enters the picture, there's going to be some thunderstorms north of us, and we'll have to wait and see how these storms impact everything. They're going to produce some outflow boundaries, and there could be some storms. You can see them really developing quickly there tomorrow afternoon up there north of the Red River and back into the Texas Panhandle. But those outflow boundaries could produce some storms even further to the south. But I still think the best chances during the day will be north of us. And then as we get towards tomorrow, you look at all those storms. So tomorrow night here, your concerns, you don't have a lot of wind shear. You don't have strong upper level winds tomorrow night. So storms will be real slow movers. It looks like a lot of heavy rain, gusty winds, and some bouts of hail. And if this scenario plays out, look at all that heavy rain tomorrow night. There could be some flooding with that across parts of the area. And again, if these storms can organize a bit, there could be some gusty winds. I'm not concerned about tornadoes tomorrow. I'm looking more at the threat for flooding and perhaps maybe some gusty winds. That would be your primary concerns. Could be some more trying to pop up on Memorial Day itself during the afternoon, evening hours. But again, I think your main concern again is going to be tomorrow night there. So let me take time to answer some of the questions here. Wow, we didn't have many people that watched us tonight on here. I figured we'd have more than that. I didn't have very many at all. So yeah, I knew it was super small, but I made it bigger. So you should have had it a little bit bigger there. So we don't have many questions here. So looking for Wichita Falls again. If we see any thunderstorms after midnight, I think we could see at least a little bit. I don't think we'll see a lot, but there could be some storms here after midnight. And you're welcome for the update. So, and these will stay on my page so you can view them whenever you want to. All right. Well, I'm going to jump off now. I appreciate those few of you that did join me here. And if I need to do some more updates tomorrow, I will. At the end, tomorrow night looks pretty stormy with a lot of heavy rain and storms in the area. Could be some flooding. So we'll be keeping out for looking for that. So David said, I got on kind of late and it's hard to see what time of day did you say she gets started. It would look like to me, David, if we get the storms, I'm not sure where you're at. North of the Red River would be kind of tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon. And then as we get into tomorrow evening, we'll see that stuff drop south of the Red River. Could be a few storms around Monday, Matthew, but I think most of the activity will be pushing out of there. Actually, it will be cooler on Monday, and there could be some thunderstorms around late in the day or at night. But it looks like most of the activity will be, in the most of the activity will be tomorrow night with maybe a little bit of activity there late Monday afternoon, Monday evening, but I don't think will be that much. I don't think Altus gets anything tonight. It's a chance maybe, but I really don't think that that Altus gets much. And again, Southern Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon, probably after about 2 or 3 o'clock, some storms up that way, and then down here the Red River, maybe south of the Red River in North Texas, maybe a little bit after sunset, or maybe into the early mid evening hours, maybe. So